And there's
Ew.
like no airflow.
That
I need to
sucks.
give me
How
like
long
a
is
little
that going to take
fan.
to get fixed?
Supposed to be fixed today. That's what they said, but it's like I'm
Thank
gonna leave my door
God.
open to get some cool air in here. I'm like sweating
Yeah.
in this office. It's
Gotta
horrible.
have a, oh, that like it would be extremely uncomfortable.
It's not fun.
Like, have you ever had the air
Like,
go out in your house?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I had it last year it went out.
It's
The
not even
compressor went
like,
bad.
it's not even like hot. It's just the fact that there's like no like moving
Stale.
air. And
It's
yeah,
like
it's just, yeah,
stale air.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Gross.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
yeah, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, dude. What's new?
No, we're just
Feel like
trying.
you just got back from the Ozarks.
I did, yeah. So 4 days of well, 3 days of being on a boat and then golfing all day yesterday. So I was a little tired yesterday. I went to bed at
Love
7:30.
that. Good for you.
So it was still light out. So
Yeah, I went to bed at
um
8, like on Saturday, I think. Something like I
Saturday.
got cow. I think it was Saturday night, one of those nights. I had cow pal all weekend. Yeah, I
Mm,
think it was Saturday night. I literally laid down with him at 8, zonked. Fell asleep, woke up at
nice.
like 1 o'clock. Like I gotta brush my teeth, lights are still on, turn the TV off. Yeah, so but it was good.
That never
So
really happens to me unless I pass out after drinking a lot. I never really forget to do all that stuff before I go to bed.
I was so tired for some reason.
Mm,
Just one of those days.
mhm.
But
Yeah, no, the
all's
Ozarks.
good,
So
dude.
this was funny. So when we were down there, I always forget to like bring one or two things with me to an Airbnb because I'm used to hotels that pretty much give you everything, and Airbnbs usually forget lotion. So I forgot to bring lotion with me. And so like the first day I'm taking a shower and I'm done, and then I get out of the shower and I'm trying to put lotion on and I see there isn't any. So I look under the sink and there's just this like little bottle that says like deepening moisture or something like that. So I start to put that on and like all of like my body hair like is like shiny and like has little bubbles on it. I was like, what the hell is that? And so, but I don't like thinking anything of it. So I just continue, put it all on, whatever. And then the next day I do the same thing. And I'm like, why is this crap like all like shiny and bubbly? So then I read it. Well, it's body soap, it's not lotion. So I stop. I don't like bother to like rinse it off or anything like that. I just stop and then I use face lotion on the rest of me. But then we go to a swim up pool like an hour later on the boat, and I get into the pool and all of a sudden there's just these bubbles that just start to just like come off of me. And so I'm like a walking like sud, like I just have suds following me around the pool, which is probably fine because those pools could probably use a little bit of a clean, but it
Yeah,
was just luckily that didn't last
that's
very long,
funny.
but we just tried to we just tried to clean that. We just tried to
That's
clean their
funny.
pool.
That's a great story. I would have
I
laughed about that.
So I put my old house on the market last week, like my old personal house, and that's kind of weird
Mhm.
because I sold it furnished. And so I walk in there and I mean the guy hasn't, except adding some TVs, he really hasn't changed a single thing about it. So every time I go in there, it feels like I'm like living back in my old house again.
Dang,
So, but
that's crazy. Have you gotten any activity on it yet?
yeah, we've had three showings on it so far, so that's good.
Nice. That's
Um,
good.
but it reminded me of this time. I don't know, this was, well, I sold the house 2 years ago. So this was like right after I had sold the house. I was dropping my friend off at her apartment, and I don't know like what came over me. I think it was just like muscle memory, but the apartment was pretty close to the old house. And so I don't own it anymore in this story. And I'm driving in my truck, and I think muscle memory just took me back to my old house. And it's like 1 a.m. at this point. And I hit the garage door button, and the garage door opens up, and I just drive into the garage. And luckily, he was not home. And I just pull in the garage, and then I don't know what made me stop, but at some point I was just like, you don't live here anymore. And so I just like backed out of there as fast as I could because I didn't really know if somebody was there, and shut the garage door. And the next morning I texted him and I was like, hey, you might want to disable the current garage code or garage door openers. And he was like, why? And I'm like, well, I just drove right into your garage last night by accident. So you might want to do that for safety reasons. So that was a little strange.
That's funny. Oh, geez. I can only imagine if he was home for that.
Oh no, I can imagine it all. Like people here have guns and stuff. That could have ended
Yeah,
badly.
that could have been not good.
Mm-mm. Thank God I didn't go inside.
Ah, yeah. And you wouldn't have known the difference because all the furniture is the same.
Oh, have I ever told you the semi truck driver story?
I don't know.
So, so one of my mentors when I first got into real estate, his name's Bill, and Bill told me that he sold clients of his houses or their house, um, and they had this friend that was a semi truck driver, and like every 3 or 4 months when he'd come through town, he had a key to their front door. They would just let him just stay at their house because they like lived right off the interstate or whatever. Well, they sold their house and forgot to tell him that they moved. So one night he just like pulls up in the truck and everything, parks out in the street, goes inside, like unlocks the door, goes inside. He's like, they like got new furniture and redecorated some things and whatever. Just lays down on the couch and like the new husband and wife are upstairs and they're like, honey, somebody like just came into our house and they're like kind of freaking out. And I mean, again, luckily, like no guns involved or anything like that, but like they just the husband went downstairs and was like, "Who the hell are you?" And the guy was like, "Well, you're not whatever their names were. I don't know." Anyway, they figured out that that's what happened, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought my friends used to live here." So obviously they asked him to leave, and he left. But
Oh,
yeah, so like I don't, when I mean, big reminder to home buyers out there to like always rekey your house at closing. I don't know if you tell people to do
yeah,
that or not,
right.
but I always do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like
You don't know how many
$99.
spare
It's not
keys.
even expensive to rekey your house. So you never know like who.
Ours, if we get a home warranty, our home warranty company usually will rekey it for free.
Well,
Just like
that's
a
nice.
$40 service call or something.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you never know like
that's
who
even
has a key to
cheaper.
people's houses. So, mm-mm,
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
mm-mm.
that's a what do you call those things? Uh public service announcement.
Yes,
PSA.
yes. PSA.
Leaky your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change
Change the
your
locks.
locks. Change your locks, change your garage codes, change all those
Yeah.
things. Because I swear every contractor that built my house probably still knew my garage code on my old house because I never changed it.
So you gonna
So,
buy it back or what?
oh no, no, no. I I built it for 550. I sold it to him for $1 million furnished, and now it's 1 million too. I wouldn't have paid 1 million for it. I'm not going to pay 1 million too.
Yeah.
It's worth that. I'm
Somebody
just
else
not
will,
going to
hopefully.
pay that
Yeah.
because I paid what I built it for. So,
Absolutely.
and I really don't want, I mean, that was a 4,800 square foot house. I really don't want that again. I don't need that big of a house.
Jeez. That's huge.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we have basements here.
Yeah.
So, it's
Yeah.
like half and half.
Yeah, we
So,
really don't. It's pretty rare to get a basement house out here.
well, it's so expensive because you got to dig into the soil there.
Yeah.
It's all just rock, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 Hard digs.
So
That's why
speaking
pools, I
of
think, are so
closings,
expensive too.
what do you guys do like closing gifts there? Like what kind of closing gifts do you give people?
Yeah, it's funny. I have one right here. Let me grab
Oh,
one.
let's see it.
Typically, if we have like a first time home buyer or something like that, we'll do something like this. And it's a
Oh, that's
picture
neat.
of the house. Let me see if we can the light. Let's see here. So it just says like our first home on it and has our logo. And then I also have like these. We basically try to do like a little gift basket. Then I had these made too. They're like little welcome home candles. It's kind of hard to see.
What do they smell like?
I have two different kinds. One of them's more like a masculine flavor, and the other one's like more of I don't even know how to explain it.
Hmm,
Like a I don't know, like a
hmm,
fruitier type scent.
hmm.
Um, that and then maybe like a gift card to or a bottle of wine or champagne or something.
Cool.
Um, and then a handwritten card. But
Always.
what do you usually do?
I don't really have like a standard for closing gifts. Lately it seems that during the process I'll end up paying for something for someone and I'm like, that's your closing gift.
Yeah,
I'm not buying anything else. But
yeah, that
um
that happens too.
for those that don't know, apparently realtors are like the only profession that gives out closing gifts. Like your doctor doesn't give you a, closing gift. Your dentist doesn't give you a gift except for a toothbrush for cleaning out your mouth and your teeth for an hour. but I don't know when this was even. I would love to know like who the first realtor was or company was who like decided to give closing gifts. But I I try and learn like what my client like something they don't know that they need or like what their hobby is or something like that, and then I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, one time this was cool. My friends, I sold their house, sold them a new one. They referred me to their neighbor, sold that house, sold them a new one. And this was like right in the middle of COVID, and the wife was she's a dietitian at a hospital, so she didn't really want to go out a whole lot. And so I had my private chef. We went over to their house and he just cooked like a 5 course meal for all of us. And we just kind of drank and ate the meal, and he cooked and cleaned everything up and then just left. And then we just got to hang out and talk the rest of the night. So I mean that was kind of fun. And they talk about that experience like all the time. Um,
That's cool.
so it's also things that just like that people remember. I mean, rather than, there's people who give out like a standard like $20 Lowe's gift card. And I'm like, well, that's lame. Because
Yeah,
I mean, what
no.
happens like if someone buys like a $2 million house from you and someone buys like a $200,000 house from
Yeah.
you? Like,
Yeah, I think
if I was
it
that client,
definitely makes a difference.
I wouldn't expect the same gift as someone who bought a $200,000 house from you.
Yeah.
So I just saw, the newest thing I get are these like big, they're like this tall, and they're like um, basically you can like put a bottle of wine. They're made out of solid granite, and then they have a tap on the front of it, and so there's a hole in the top, and so you can put like wine in there, vodka, whatever you want. You tip it over, kind of like those old school water fountain things, where you put the big jug of water on top.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's like that. Because like nobody even really knows what those are, that those things exist. So I buy them at this little store like 30 minutes away from here and go. I buy 4 or 5 at a time and go pick them up every now and then. But they're fun gifts to give to people because first of all, like when you have them wrapped up, people are like, "What the hell is this thing?" Because it's solid
Yeah, it's
granite,
so
so it's
heavy.
heavy. But then again, like they leave it at their bar, and then people are like, "What's that thing?" And then they're always like, "Oh, my realtor gave it to me," whatever. No one's gonna remember.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be like, "Yeah, you see that wall over there? I painted it with my realtor's gift card." Like no one's gonna. I mean,
Yeah.
no one's
Yeah.
gonna
And it's
remember.
not really personable. I like the personable stuff too.
Yeah, I love the
One
little
of
photo you
one
do. That's cool.
That's fun. Another good one that I did, the parents were huge wine people, like 500 bottle wine fridge type of thing. And they were moving here from California, and their daughter was moving with them, and she's going to high school, and the daughter's like really like kind of into old school rock and this and that. I learned. So I got the parents like these really nice Baccarat wine glasses that were
Cool.
like really sick. And then I got the daughter a little record player with like 5 records. And
Oh,
she was
that's
like
fun.
over the moon, like super jacked about this record player because it was totally her vibe. And then the parents just absolutely loved it because they're like, "Oh my God, you got something for her too. Like that's so great." Like I love that kind of stuff
Yeah, if you went over the
where
kids, you went over the parents. There was this time that
yeah.
this was a long time ago, but I was showing these, and I got kind of lazy and don't do it anymore, but I used to make, well, because everything just sold so quickly. So, like, there's usually not a whole lot of times anymore where I go out and show like 8 to 10 houses at a time, but we used to do that before when houses would actually stay on the market longer. And, so I used to make like these little, just like plastic booklets with everything we're going to see and like notes that the parents could make and everything. And so the first time I went out, uh, their little kid was kind of sad that they didn't get a little notebook. So I went and bought like a little mini plastic notebook, and I would like have the kid rate like things that are important to them, like backyard play area, their bedroom, something like that, instead of like the kitchen and like the walk-in closet and whatever that the parents would care
Hmm.
about. And they just thought that was like the cutest little thing ever. So,
That's fun. Love
well,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
that's how you personalize everything, right? And stuff like that.
yeah, and make it a memorable experience to
Right.
the process. Yeah, that's great. Love that. Yeah, so
What
I
else
went to
is
this
new? Oh yeah, you went to the Tom Ferry marketing thing,
I
right?
went to this Tom Ferry marketing thing. It was like an all-day seminar. And honestly, it was one of the coolest, like, I don't want to call it a seminar because it wasn't that. It was like a marketing. I'm basically it was like 9 to 4 p.m., but just like marketing ideas. And one of the Tom Ferry speakers was there, and he had like guest speakers there and like a lot of video stuff. And one of the things that I realized is like and this is, I think, for any business, is they're broken down into like operations, marketing, and sales, or marketing operation, however you want to look at it. And like you're probably good at two of the things, really good at one of the things, and not very good at the other one. And one of the things I realized is I love the marketing side, and I think I'm good at that. So this whole day was just like speaking to me, and it was like one of the coolest, like probably one of the, it wasn't like one of those rah rah like get
Yeah.
motivated type of seminars, which I mean, take it or leave it, those aren't my
Yeah.
favorite. Um, but there was so many good nuggets of just like things that he talked about, and just um a lot of just practical advice on marketing and where he thinks, you know, things are going. And YouTube is definitely one of the big things that he hit on, was like a lot of the long form, which we've been talking about and we've been
Mhm.
trying to do this whole year, and trying to be accountable to doing long form videos of neighborhoods and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Um, but one of the coolest, I mean, they kind of started off the whole thing with, "Are you interested or are you committed?" Because there's like, those are two wildly different things. Are you
Mhm.
interested in marketing? Are you committed to marketing? And you could say that with anything business related or life related, or I mean, even if it's fitness, or I mean, are you interested in that? Or are you actually committed? And I think that was a good way to start the whole thing, because you have to be, in my opinion, committed to whatever it is you're doing to be successful at it. And yeah, so I thought that was a really, really cool thing. And we can get into, I mean, I took a ton of notes, and some of the,
Yeah. What was your
about some of the
what were your
speakers. And
two biggest takeaways?
um the biggest takeaways, I mean, really, and it kind of goes back to a lot of the other speakers too, but just like be consistent. And the consistency part is the type of videos that I want to start doing, or doing more of, and that is like long form stuff that's going to stay on Google and YouTube forever. Because if someone Googles a certain area, and shout out Noah Escobar, because he's like the king at doing this in Florida. But when someone Googles a certain area or beach, he wants to pop up first in Google, and then that'll in turn take them to his website and profile and all that kind of stuff. Um, but there was a couple really cool videos um, that I wanted to talk about real quick, and these were mostly like Instagram type videos. And one of them was this lady does, I mean, she has a big team out here and does quite a bit of business in the East Valley. And she did this video. It started out with like her being upset because she said, "I didn't get the listing." Like the whole video is like, "I didn't get the listing" video.
Hmm.
And the premise was like, she's in her car and she's going, "Hey, I didn't get the listing. I went on this appointment last week, noticed it got listed with somebody else. But it's sad that the agent who took this listing didn't do this." And she goes into like, you know, they only put it on the MLS. There's no video. There's no Twilight photos. It looks like it was done with their phone. They're way overpriced. Like this, like she went through this whole spiel of like, "I didn't get the listing. I'm sad about it." And what's really sad though is the sellers went with this agent who, and she didn't like bash the agent by any means, but like basically saying, "When you take a listing with me, here's what I do. We go professional photos, Twilight, drone, and then we get a video made, and then we blast it to this many people, and this, and this." And it was just a really cool spin off of like, "Ah, I'm so sad, poor me," but also like,
That is
"Hey,
the worst, by the way. If
you
I'm
know,
gonna lose, I'm
yeah,
perfectly fine losing to someone better than me.
yeah,
Like, I'm not at all okay losing to someone. And even if I'm like, oh, great, like they'll sell the house for 40 grand less, like who cares? Because they didn't take photos and whatever. I'm like, well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't help me. I don't make any money off that. Like, I'd rather them be successful, but just be successful with me. So when I lose to someone who is not, like you said, they take photos with their phone, like they don't have people
yeah,
clean stuff, like they don't have people do anything. I'm like, well, that's just pathetic. And so then I feel like
yeah."
a real loser. So
Well, the whole point isn't to do that, but I think the point of the video is to show them like, "Hey, I mean, here's part of the game is you win and you lose, but at the same time, like if you're a potential seller, like here's what I would do to market your house."
yeah, that's a great
And
idea.
then another cool one that that was talked about was this dude was on his way to a listing appointment. He's in his car and he has like a green screen. You could tell he's in the car, and the background of the green screen is like a map. And he's gone, "Hey, Um, let me see where if I can find what it. Um, um, I don't have it. I'll have to look for it real quick. But he goes, "Hey, I have a potential seller lead, or I have a potential seller in this community right here. If you're looking, God, I gotta find the little because it sounds so much better when I actually read what it is. Um, shoot, let me see. I took so many freaking.
I don't
Basically,
know
he's
what.
like, "Hey,
Go
if
ahead.
you're looking in this specific neighborhood right here, I'm on my way to a listing appointment right now. Now it's not a done deal, but if you're looking to live like right here in this community, like I have this house that could be potentially for sale. Well, if you're, looking in here, DM me, become on my VIP list, and you'll be the first one to hear about it when we go live and something like that. So
That's cool.
before and the whole point of it was like when he shows and he does it on the way to the listing appointment. So when he gets to the listing appointment, he can show the seller, like, hey, there's 12 people right now. I just said that I'm on my way to this appointment. I have 12 people right now that said they want more information about your house. So I have 12 people, potential buyers in the pipeline right now as like another, like, as a seller. And you're like, oh, shoot, like, that'd be great. Like, we have 12 people bidding on this thing right now. Like, I
Oh, that
think
is a
that's
great
a really
idea.
big value add um, for
And then again, I mean, like the thing about
just
social media
another
is even if
strategy.
he goes in there and he didn't get that listing or he lost to a person who takes photos with their phone, now he has like 12 people that he can reach out to. Um,
Yeah.
who were like hey, I didn't end up getting that, but like, can I show the house to you? Or, like what about it did you want? Like, then you can just ask those follow-up questions and pick them up as clients too if they weren't already, or they just were like kind of like quietly following you and you didn't really know, who they were, what they were looking for. So I mean, that's like a great like lead generation tool
Absolutely.
too.
I need to find what he actually says because I wrote it down.
What
Um,
is it about realtors? Like we make videos in our cars all the time. And I don't know
I
about
think
you,
we're
but
in our
like
cars all of the time.
I love like the only time I ever like to talk on the phone is in the car. Um, like if somebody ever calls me and I'm not in the car, immediately they'll get a text and I'm like, "What's up?" And they're like, "I just tried to call you." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't like to talk on the phone. It's not my vibe." But then if I'm in my car, I initiate phone calls all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I can't do anything else in the car but drive. So I think it's just my, if I'm like at the office, I get distracted and I start typing away on the computer and it's really awkward when the phone call can hear you do that. And then they say something random and you like they tell you some sad news and you laugh because you're not paying attention. And they really start to figure out that you're not paying attention to their phone call. So that's why I usually make
Well,
those in the car.
I I think also it's a good use of time. Like if for me, like if I'm 20 minutes from an appointment, like it's a good use to just have a quick touch to somebody rather than just like listen to music for 20 minutes. Like you can
Well,
actually make that time
and I think it's easy to be
purposeful.
like, oh, okay, I just got to my appointment, so I need to cut you
Yeah.
off. Whereas opposed to like if I'm just sitting at my house, I'll just let this person talk like for hours because I have one client that I think he just calls me to talk. Like I think I'm just his friend, so he just calls me to talk. And I can never get him off the phone. Like I just wish I could just lie to him and just be like, "Hey, I gotta run," but I can't. So he'll just talk forever. So at least if I do it in the car, um, I could at least tell him I'm like going to an appointment or something like that. So
Yeah. Okay, so I found a little section. Side note, it's a could be coming soon. So like, hey, I got this property. It could be coming soon. That's like
yeah, that's a great
the
idea.
verbiage of it. And yeah, you show the neighborhood and things about that, a little bit about the house and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like my biggest takeaways were one, like, I mean, Google is the king of everything. So get more Google reviews, have a system in place to like do that, which I'm not a systems guy,
Mm.
which realized over time, and I need to hire, that's like on my little list of things I don't like doing. It's like setting up systems and maybe it's just it is up to me to set it all up, but just not actually execute that type of stuff. But like sending out Google reviews or getting reviews and all that like is so important. And then also be more known on YouTube and all that. But he had some cool some like tidbits on like the Google my or Google Business Profile now that it's called. But he was saying like, when you get the reviews, see if you can put some keywords in there from the people doing the reviews. Like, hey, say they were the best agent in Scottsdale, or like, you know what I mean? Like put some keywords in there where if someone Googles like best agent in Scottsdale, it'll come up on your actual review itself rather than like, hey, we loved Curtis and we loved Michael and they did a great job.
Oh, that's a
But
great idea. So
just
I,
ask for like a little bit more of like a little bit deeper of do some keywords in there. Like put in they were the best realtor in Elkhorn, or like they were
wow,
the
good
top
job on
agent,
remembering like a
top
city
team
there.
in, yeah, there you go.
Great job. Look at that. I
I'm learning, dude.
so like I just sent out I think I sent out like 8 emails today for Google reviews because I just kind of like batch some of them together. And I just have a little templated email set up that has both Google and Zillow in there. And I basically just tell people they can copy and paste it if they want. But that's great. I'll start telling them to put in words like that in there so that they can just insert them in there anyway. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, and he was showing like you get, I mean, obviously you want as much organic stuff as you can get, and
Right.
think about like what a buyer would say and think about what a seller would say when they Google something. And is
Mhm.
that like, best agent or whatever that is? I mean, I don't know, whatever you think, and then just kind of sprinkle in that to the reviews, and it'll help your profile get more traction, and then add that kind of stuff to your profile. And it's all just there's a lot to it,
So
but all
every
these little things help.
So every Tuesday I have Google Hour for like sometimes it's a half an hour, sometimes it's an hour. But I created my Google business profile and I had everybody on my team do it too. And in an office meeting, it was like, I mean, it took us 10 minutes to create everybody's. But I mean, the thing about Google is to stay super consistent with it, just like everything. And so like I went in and I mean, I uploaded basically photos of almost every house that I've listed and sold. Um, and I'm now going through the process of like writing captions on them all, just because it kind of just
Hmm.
boosts up like your profile score and all that.
Yeah.
I like I kind of had the benefit of I went to a friend of mine who owns an SEO company here, and he can act like and he taught me how to do this. I just don't quite remember, and we already did it, but you can basically go into the back end of Google and it can tell you like what areas of town are like the most search for real estate. Like you can search what keywords you want to put in your like in your bio, which is
Hmm.
super helpful. Like you can, and basically it tells you like what part of town there is like no visibility for realtors and things like that. So we kind of focused on those keywords, and then I had ChatGPT write up my bio and pretty much everything else on there. But then I have people who ask me questions on the Q&A part of Google, and I'll go in and answer it. You put videos in there, you post updates just like you would like on social media, like open houses and new listings and things like that. And granted, it's only the people that kind of like follow your page that are seeing that for now, but eventually again, it's just like
Yeah.
social media when that grows, that'll help it all grow. And then in that Google hour, like I send out my goal is I send out 5 review requests every Tuesday. And the nice thing about like Google as opposed to Zillow is they did not have to be like a client. It can be like a lender you worked with. It can be someone who like refers you a lot. I mean, it could be it could be like your jeweler.
Yeah. You
It's
don't
just
have a
like no,
close, it does,
yeah,
it's
like
not tied to a property.
yeah, like it's just somebody who can like comment on like your character and your communication and things like that. So like I'll think of, every transaction I had like the week before and I'll be like, who was the lender involved in it? Like who was the title company if it's not the same title company? Like, who all did we use and that kind of thing. And then I send it all out to them. But then I make it a goal to review back. I try and do 10 businesses every Tuesday because the key is if you set up your Google profile, mine is Michael Maley Real Estate. It's not Michael Maley or Curtis Mitchell. And a lot of us have, our personal Google stuff. And so if you want to make sure to set it up with your business name, because then
Yeah.
when people are like reviewing, when they're like looking at Google reviews of restaurants and everything else, they're constantly seeing, Michael Maley Real Estate on all these reviews. And then the more of those you do, you become like a community leader. So you automatically end up like higher in these reviews because you're more trusted, I guess, and whatever. And it's kind of fun because like I'll get emails from Google a couple times a week and like they'll say, oh, congratulations, your review like was seen by over 5,000 people. So I mean, I have like probably 15 of them now that have been seen by over 1,000, and I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them that have been seen by between like 5 and 10,000 people.
Nice.
Which is really kind of cool. And I mean, again, like they don't even have to be super detailed. It's just, and again, I mean, is somebody gonna call me because they read my review on a pizza restaurant? Maybe not, but it's just all about just like constant name recognition. So,
Yeah, I love that. That's a great tip. Yeah.
um,
It's
yeah. So what, this was always something that I was kind of curious on. So, I remember when I was like brand new and I'd like sit at the restaurant with my mentor and, you know, his phone would ring like 4 or 5 times. Um, with like referrals from people, and I'd always like go home wondering, like when is that going to happen to me and that sort of thing. And I think it was like year like 4 that I stopped having to like rely on lead generation, and my business was pretty much just referral based. When did that happen for you?
probably a little bit after that. Probably like year 5, probably year 5 or 6, I think. That's when I hired my transaction coordinator
Mm.
because we were just getting busy and I just couldn't do it all. And I think that's kind of when things took off more. What year is that? Probably like 20, yeah, probably around that 2017, 28, year 5, 6, something around there would be my guess. I mean, I still feel like I do like passive lead gen, but I don't do like anything active like cold calling or door
Yeah, no, like I still
knocking. I
like
mean,
put
I'll
my
still
name
do
in
like, I mean,
magazines and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and I'll still do like open
um,
house stuff, but I'm not, yeah, like
yeah,
I'm not sitting in the phone room at the Berkshire, front
just
desk, like
dialing.
taking phone calls.
Yeah,
I've never made a cold
yeah,
call in my entire life, and I never will. But we,
I have.
ugh,
Not my thing. Not
no,
my thing.
not me.
And that's I think part of what I was talking about earlier with this marketing thing is like pick one thing that you're really good at in your business and like that you actually like and enjoy doing and then just run with it and double down and just do that. And I think that's what I've kind of realized the marketing side of things for video and all that for me was what I actually enjoy doing and what I'll do it instead of like, when you say, hey, cold call 10 people from
Mm-mm,
this list and blah,
mm-mm.
blah, and it's just like, nah, I'm good. Like,
No,
and
I won't
I'm
do it.
nervous
No.
and
Mm-mm.
everyone on the other line knows I don't want to be doing this. But, there's some people that are really, really good on the phones and they love being on the phones. And if that's what you love doing, then double down and do it because you're going to do it and you're going to enjoy it. But
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, yeah, because otherwise, like you said, I mean, people can tell that this is not your thing and you're not enjoying it. I mean, there are some people who, like, I do not call myself a salesman. I mean, I'm a relationship builder and I put deals together, but
mhm,
I'm not a salesman. And so I think like natural born salesmen, like they love to be on the phone and, make those cold calls because like that's like a high for them. They get excited about
yeah.
that. And that's just never been, and thank God it's never
Yeah,
been
I'm the
my
same
thing
way.
because I'm no good at
I'm the
it.
same
So
way. Yeah.
like, well, and that's an
So,
important thing though, is like finding your thing. I mean, I asked this agent in my office, I'm like, why don't you ever do open houses? And he's like, Michael, I've done this for 8 years. And he's like, I've never gotten a client from an open house. And I was like, okay. I'm like, that's either you suck at them or that's just not your thing. And if it's not your thing, you're not going to put the right energy into it. You're not going to come off the right
right.
way, and
And I was just
you're
gonna
never going to
say
meet a
that's
client.
the people there know that you're there because you have to be there and not because you
Right.
want to be there. And I
Right.
think that's the total energy that you put off in one of those. So
Mm-hmm.
the people who are really, I mean, it's really successful at open houses are the ones that absolutely love. And it's funny, one of the speakers that he talked about, there was this guy that was in somewhere in California, I forget what city it is, but average price point is like 800 to 1.2 or something. And this dude does an open house every single weekend.
Mm.
They say he puts out 20 signs every single time. And every time he's putting a sign out, he's out here waving to all the cars that drive by, just
20
smiling, putting a sign
signs.
out, waving to everybody.
Oh, that sounds
But that's his
terrible.
thing. And he calls, and then apparently he'll do that, put all his signs out. And then when he picks up all his signs, that's when he calls everyone that showed up to the open house, thanking them for coming and blah, blah, blah. And you can hear him rustling and bustling the open house signs and you hear the street traffic and this and that. And he's just calling to say, "Hey, thanks for stopping by." But like that's his jam. That's what he wants to do. It's what he loves to do, and people vibe off of that energy, and that's
God
just his
bless
thing.
him.
Now,
That
I'm
sounds
not,
terrible. Mm.
yeah, not for me. I mean, he's also in California when it's 75 year round, which
I don't
helps.
even put sign. I don't even like.
Uh,
I put up an open sign on my sign. I don't even put up arrows.
oh, really?
Um,
Oh, yeah, no, I'll do a little more than that, but
I mean, I feel like if I'm
still,
trying to attract like an 85-year-old that doesn't know how to use a mapping app, sure. But otherwise, if they're at all interested in the house, I feel like they would have figured out how to get there before they got in the car.
uh,
So,
either way,
but
it
like,
was
yeah,
just
I
funny
mean,
to me.
like,
Like that's,
I mean, it is funny because, like, I mean, if you start to like take, if all you look at it, like, because I don't do a lot of open houses myself because mine are like really because they're usually on like more high end homes and I plan them out pretty far in advance because I buy the geo fence around all my open houses. And so whenever somebody pops into my open house, like a little cookie from my house ad pops into their phone. So then when they leave the open house, like the little ad follows them around. Um,
hmm
and so, and then like I'll buy the geofence around like places around that house, or like if it has a pool, like the pool centers around there, like the pool companies and stuff like that. Like anything that can like, I don't know, somehow bring up people that might be looking at kind of the same thing or whatever. Um, then I go ahead and then it pops up an ad on there. So it's, I mean, I bought plenty of stuff, racked up quite the credit card bill on stuff that follows me around the internet on Facebook at night. Shoes, clothes, all that good stuff. And so, it can work the same way with houses.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think again, just there's so many ways to be successful in this business and do what you enjoy doing and what you love doing. And I do think there's part of it as like a, oh, I hate doing that because this and that, but I've never really tried it before. Like people with videos, kind of the same thing. Oh, I hate the sound of my voice, or I hate the way I look, or whatever. No one's gonna care what I say. I think there's like a fear of, getting over that initial first thing, and then you might actually enjoy doing it. So maybe just because you don't like it now doesn't mean you won't like it in 6 months.
I actually never wanted to
But
do video before, but during COVID, I started to record TikTok videos in my basement and I would do like the voiceover videos. And so it would, it'd be my face, but I would be like, it'd be like a pre-recorded sound on TikTok already. And
mhm.
I would just be doing something in the background. And so that kind of got me comfortable with like my face being on camera. Um, and then after that, I was just obviously just had to transition to like talking and doing house videos, but that was kind of like a little two-step process for me. And I mean
Yeah.
now, and we we both create quite a bit of video, which is good and it's needed, but not everybody's good at it, and not everybody's gonna want to do it, or they're gonna have like
Right.
crooked cameras or like dirty cameras, or they're gonna like not even have the sound on or whatever. So I mean, there's just some people who are that's just not gonna be their thing,
Yeah.
and it never will be,
Agreed.
no matter how many times
Yeah,
I
and it
tell
never will be.
them, yeah, no
That's
matter how many times I tell them, video needs to be your thing, do this, do that. Because it's weird because like I still put ads in the newspaper, which you would think for a 33-year-old is really dumb. But we still have like a huge population of really wealthy older people here that read the paper. And that's why I do it, because I've gotten so many calls from people that are like, "Oh, I see your stuff in the paper every Sunday." And I'm like, "Yep, that's why I do it." And so it really never like sells the listing, but it's just another
name
place that like,
recognition.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
branding. It's your
yeah.
brand. It's not so much marketing. It's like your branding,
Right. Yeah,
which
it's
I
all
think
that
there's a
just guerrilla
difference.
marketing that I do so that everybody just
Yeah.
continually sees my name out there everywhere.
hmm
So this is completely off topic, but this was funny. So speaking of just like buying stuff late at night. So favorite comedian is Shane Gillis, and Shane.
hmm
And one night I'm laying in bed and I see that he shared a post and all it said was, I thought it said me, meaning Shane, and so are going to be in these places in the coming weeks. Well, one of them was Chicago. So I texted my friend Colin and I was like, hey, I'm like, let's go to Chicago. And he's like, sweet. He's like, I don't have the kids until Wednesday at 5. He's like, so we just have to be back before that because it was like on a Tuesday night. So we like were about to get on like book plane tickets. He's checking hotels, all this other stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, I read this wrong. I'm like, Shane was just sharing a different comedian's post. Shane's not going to be in Chicago. And I just can't imagine how funny that would have been if him and I, because this is totally something him and I would do. We would book flights, we'd book a hotel, we'd fly there. And we'd like sit here and like laugh at the opening acts, you know, thinking that's people opening for Shane. And then we'd be like, where's Shane at, everybody? Like, why hasn't he come on yet? And people would just look at us and be like, you idiot, Shane's not even here. Why do you think the tickets cost like $40? So
That's funny. Yeah, that'd have been a good story. I love stand-up
I'm not really
comedy.
a detailed person. That was funny. We were at lunch today and we were talking about, I was with one of my lender friends today, and we were talking about like over the last, I don't know, year, I've pretty much figured out that I just, and this goes a whole like along the lines of like your transaction coordinator and finding like a business manager.
Hmm.
I guess that's probably like one of my biggest regrets early on in real estate was that I had the money to hire a business manager, but I always found something more fun to spend that money on. And I wish I would have hired one a long time ago, because I think my business probably would have doubled from even where it is today had I done that a long time ago. Um, because I've learned that I just want to be a producer. I want to go out,
Hmm.
sell stuff, build relationships, put deals together, do all that. And then I don't want anything to do with like the back end work. I don't want to deal with,
Yeah.
you know, doing the Google
Operations.
things and doing all this and like managing any of that and everything else. And I think, and then likewise, there's people who don't want to be the producer types who enjoy all that back end work. And,
Yeah.
you know, those people just need to be better about finding each other so that they can be like a great team together, you know, and then you just have your kind of behind the scenes person. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that just goes along the lines of like the people who are really good at the operations and the organizational type stuff and the systems typically aren't the best at the marketing side or being the face of things or
mhm.
sales, or they like behind the scenes. And I think just finding the person that can complement you. And I think me and you are a lot alike in that way, where we need somebody on the back end to just handle all that stuff. And then we're out building relationships and solving problems and marketing and
Yeah, like it was
being the
funny. There
face of
was
the
this
business.
when I was like brand new, there was this guy that joined around the same time I did, and he came from like a big corporate company in Omaha, and he was like their VP or whatever. And he had retired. Well, they had laid off, and so he had basically retired, got laid off, whatever. And so he got into real estate, and he tried to be like creative marketing. We were going to do this marketing thing to like all these apartment complexes here, and be like, you know, you're wasting money on rent. You know, that typical thing that all the brand new realtors think is such a great idea.
Hmm.
And he like got on to, I don't even know what program he used, but he got on there and he had like stick figure people drawn. And I'm like, what is that? And he thought it was like the best marketing in the world, and then just like slapped our email signatures on the bottom of it. And I'm like, no. That's very much like, no, that looks terrible. But again, it's like a whole, you know, his mind doesn't think that way. He's not the creative mind.
Yeah.
So, and he was totally fine
Yeah.
sending that out in the mail too. And I was like, no, we can't send that out. No.
Yeah, I think I have a pretty good eye for like design and that. I mean, I feel like all the ideas are there. It's just execution for me is execution and like planning the time to do it all. Because videos obviously don't take 5 minutes. It's a whole production, and it's getting the photographer and the videographer there and the
I know,
scripts
like
and all whatever you're gonna say.
I think like the
But
two next jobs I would want to hire, because I figured out the business manager thing. She'll start at the end of the year. But I would love to have a personal driver, because I hate driving anymore. And which would work like in New York, but can you imagine like in the suburbs of Omaha? I just have like a black Suburban just drop me off on the driveway, and my clients just like watch this person just like walk in, and they're like, what was that? And I just have to tell them it's my driver. Like that would look incredibly weird here. But think about how much more productive you would be during the day.
yeah, you'd have a lot more.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you just sit in the back and type all day long, especially in Arizona where it takes forever to drive everywhere.
Yeah.
And you could just
Yeah.
sit back there. You could have a little suite set up. It'd be great. But the other
That
one
would be
would just be like a full-time just videographer that just follows me around,
I would love
because
that. Yeah, that would be
especially
huge.
like what I've started to do now with video is I'll like turn the camera on or have the cameraman turn it on like a good 5-10 minutes before I actually have to like record what I want to record. And we just have a
Hmm.
conversation. Because then
Yeah.
they don't even tell me. I'll just straight up jump in from that conversation into like what I know I have to say, and then it'll edit out the rest. Because if I feel like I'm just having a regular conversation, it's a lot easier for me to record. If they're like 3, 2, 1, go, then I'm like, I don't even know what my name is anymore. And so it's just like when the camera hits and like the big lights on or whatever, you just
Yeah.
like they, they'll joke. I don't know why my entire social media team has to come to every freaking video that I make. And they've learned now that I make them all go in a different room. Like if I can, I don't, even though I know you're there, like if I can't see you, you're not there to me. So it's much easier for me to record a video.
Yeah.
The only two people allowed in there are the two people that Darren and Austin who record my videos, but and I've just become comfortable with them. But like, yeah, so now I just have the conversation and then I just roll right into what I'm supposed to say, knowing they'll just cut it out because that way it's just a lot more comfortable for me. So
Yeah. That's a good tip for anybody trying to start a video. I've
or
gotten pretty
somebody,
comfortable like with like even neighbors, like doing a video outside with like the neighbors watching
mhm.
or like
No,
selfie videos or
no, I
like I
hate
was
that
doing
too.
one, I
No.
did one on Sunday and we had the photographer and like the videographer had like his huge setup, like the big gimbal thing. And obviously like it was a production and like cars are driving by, people are like slowing down, looking, see what's going on and
Mm.
just roll with it. Just go with it. And,
I mean, it's weird
but
because a lot of people you'll talk to about me would completely disagree with this statement, but I don't like being the center of attention. And so that would drive me crazy. Like I'm outside and there's this big like beam of light that they're holding in the air, to get the right light, like you just described. And then you got your camera and you got all this stuff. And I'm like, no, 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 no. They're like neighbors are watching. They're like standing out on the street now, like looking at you. People think we have a TV show going on here. No.
see, I don't
And
mind
then
that.
even
I
though
don't
these
mind
people
it
can't,
at all.
even though these people can't hear me, like they don't know who I am, I'm immediately like, no, we're not doing that shot. Let's go do something else. And I just go back inside. Mhm. So
I don't
this
know.
one video
I
I
think
shot,
it's
this was funny. So I normally have to record, I don't know. I've gotten a lot better, but we normally have to record the same thing 4 or 5 times for me to get it right. And then
mhm.
it never fails. Like nail it, get it right, and then my videographer's like, "Oh crap." Like this or that or whatever, something was wrong, whatever, and then I got to redo it. But um we did this video where I jumped in a pool and that only had one take to it. So that was probably the most difficult video I had to shoot because we had to get everything perfect beforehand because once I go in that pool, we're not reshooting anymore.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a fun one though. I don't even remember what like the little tagline was, but it was just me jumping in me jumping in the pool in the backyard. So that was a
I
fun
should
one
do
to
one of
create.
those because
It was
now that it's
fun.
hot,
Yeah, it was fun.
videos are just
When I was like full on, I was in like a suit. So I
yeah.
mean,
See,
it was kind of neat. Well, I
I gotta
stole the
find a
idea
suit that I'm
from.
willing to ruin.
Well, it was, you don't ruin it. I had jumped. I don't know. Well, maybe I was just in like a dress shirt and a tie. I don't remember, but I stole the
Yeah, no,
idea
it'll
from.
get ruined.
I think it was Frederick or whatever for $1 Million Listing that he did
Hmm.
this thing where he just like angel winged backwards off the diving board into the pool, and that's what that's what my intention was supposed to be. But you'd be kind of amazed how weird it feels to just like fall off of a diving board and like not try and like stop yourself. And again, like I mean, you can't stop yourself because then the video's ruined because you're wet. So, and I was like, well, we're not shooting this 500 times. And so mine kind of turned into more of like I flopped into the pool because I realized halfway through that I don't really enjoy swimming. I'm not that good at it. And now I'm just jumping into this deep end of this pool. So that was kind of fun. And then it was supposed to be like this, like the water just kind of like flowing like out of the video, and I was supposed to stay underwater. But no more than like 5 seconds in, it's just me popping up for air, like, oh, and they're like, well, we'll have to just shorten the video a little bit and edit that out. So
You know, I really want to have like a bloopers reel of all the videos like throughout the year or even like every quarter because I know there's some funny stuff that it's funny like I'm pretty sure the dude who does my videos like the mic's just on and it's just like recording the whole time or pretty close to that. And like we say some funny stuff like behind the scenes and trying to get shots and this and that. And I think it would be really good to, or just like when you're talking, just like a
yeah,
blooper
yeah.
reel of like screw ups and mess ups and all that. And
Oh, I love a good hot
that,
mic, like a good behind the scenes of a hot
yeah,
mic. You don't even realize
yeah,
it's
it's
on.
the
In fact,
best. It's the
they've
best.
started to do that to me because I'll just say random crap
It's the
and they know
best.
that.
It's
And then I'm
yeah,
like, oh shit, I didn't mean to say that.
I
So,
love it.
hmm.
Yeah. So that'll be, but yeah, my goal is to do a lot more video. So stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, full-time videographer would be great, but then I don't
Be
know.
great.
Everyone
I don't
says
know
I
what they
need a TV
cost.
show, but then I'm like for 90% of the day, I don't think I do. So I'm like, I don't really know what the videographer would
Yeah.
do all day. He would just sit here and just video me doing nothing.
Well, you wouldn't even every day, like I mean, I'm sure there's some days like you have multiple appointments that they could just tag along with and not even be there in the appointment, but just like,
I
I don't know.
suppose.
I think we can make use of something like that.
Or again, it's like what I
For
told
sure.
you with like the assistant thing or the like business manager, transaction coordinator type thing. It's like, I'm like, oh, well, there's not that much stuff that I would do videos on right now. Just when you think through, kind of like, oh, well, there's not that many tasks that I would have for this person to do, but you never really think of all the other stuff you could do, like if you had a
Hmm.
videographer or,
Yeah.
if you had a different assistant or whatever, right? Like all the stuff that you're just not getting to or you just don't have time for, like that's the kind of
Yeah,
stuff that, that obviously elevates your business and takes it to the next level. So,
for sure. Yeah, I need to keep growing and figuring hire. I think I do. I mean, it's been that way. Hiring an actual assistant because my transaction coordinator is mostly just transactional. Like
mm,
she'll do if I have a transaction, that's pretty much her job to do all that. But I need somebody outside of that to do more.
yeah,
And a
like
lot
I
of the
want,
just the
like, it's
little
funny
stuff that
that
Kate
the
can do.
girl that's going to start for me in the fall, Um, she works on our team now, so she already understands real estate. And she's a
That's
mom,
good.
and I
That's
just feel like
perfect.
moms just like get stuff done differently.
Yeah.
And like I just want to be able to just like be sitting at my desk and just yell out the word like zoo day. And then she would just be like, what? And then she'd have like 40 questions for me on like what that means. Like, did you want to have like a team day at the zoo? Was this like a client thing? Are you going by yourself? And then she would just plan it. And like
Yeah.
that's just me being like the idea guy. I just want to just shout out
Yeah.
ideas like a Tourette's person,
Absolutely.
and then just have
Yeah.
her
That's
just plan it.
same.
Like,
Plan it
and
all
I
for
told
me.
her, I'm
Tell me
like,
who to
I'll
make the tell me
what?
who to pay. Yeah, like literally. Yeah, plan it
I'm
all
like,
for
I'll
me.
pay
Just tell
you a
me how
lot
much
of
it
money for
costs.
that. Like, I literally
Yeah.
want to go show houses, write contracts. You tell me when the closing date is. You do everything in between, and then that's that.
Yeah. On to
So,
the next.
mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I love
I
that.
don't,
That it's
yeah,
like a
yeah. Well, that sounds terrible. Under the next, yeah,
well,
no,
not like that, but I mean
no, I
just
know
like
that.
always
No, I
working
know
on the
that.
next.
I know. Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, because like every hour that I spend in the office doing that stuff is every less hour that I could be out, meeting people or
Build
whatever. Now, granted, I'm
relationships.
probably not
Yeah.
going to meet a whole lot of people between like 2 and 5 on a Tuesday afternoon, but still, I
Never
mean,
know.
it's, I know that's the thing. You never really know. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the most interesting plans I've had, I was like, I don't know how I met you doing this, but it was worked out well for me.
Yeah. Or you could go golf, dude. Meet
Golfed
somebody on the golf
yesterday.
course.
That was good.
I'm supposed to golf
Um,
Thursday. I'm supposed to golf Thursday, Saturday, and then Wednesday this next
nice.
week.
Yeah, I golf in
It's
another
gonna be a
outing
great week.
tomorrow,
It's gonna be
so
hot though.
it's gonna be hot.
Sucks. I'm not ready for summer.
No, see, I think golf needs to be like 15 holes because nine's not enough, 18's too many, especially at an outing where there's like free booze everywhere.
Yeah.
And no, that's I get tired. So,
Yeah.
but this was a good one today. I
No,
think
I'm
I think we
excited.
can wrap. Yeah, I think we can.
Absolutely, dude. I think yeah, dude, I'm like really motivated to like just keep doing all this marketing stuff. Like I think